Hello and welcome to the NFL 2021 season Week 8 recap. This is Ob1gui's. We're going to present the results of Week 8 in a few minutes, but first I wanted to remind you that in an earlier video we talked about the new rules regarding the Super Bowl playoffs for upcoming Super Bowl 56 on the February 13th, 2022, and we're going to have only one seed in each conference, the top seed with the bye, as you can see by the new playoff bracket. So that bye will take the number one seed in the AFC and the number one seed in the NFC over to the divisional playoff round automatically. However, also in the first wildcard round, we added an additional team per conference, and as a result, you actually have 3 wildcard games per conference, one of which will be moved to Monday night for the first time in history. And as I said back when I created the playoff bracket results video back in October, it's the beginning of November, and I'm going to predict and extend the prediction that if the Dallas Cowboys are not the number one seed, which means they would play in the wildcard round, doesn't matter what seed they are, they will be the Monday Night Football game. We will see if any of that changes, but right now it looks like Dallas is in pretty good shape for the number one seed, so it may not really be an issue. I also teased that we were going to do some playoff projections either in Week 8 or Week 9. I decided to hold off on that until Week 9, mainly because the AFC is so volatile at this moment. There's no really 1, 2, or 3 teams in the AFC that are running away with it. It's very, very close. So there are a lot of teams that are in contention for the first, second, third, and fourth seeds. So we'll see if that changes, but probably regardless, we're going to do it next week. And at this bracket, I'll have the wild card round filled in for each conference, and we'll talk about what those projections are. Thank you, and we'll now head over to the Ob1gui's website, where we will now talk about the games that occurred in the NFL. Okay, and you can see from the Ob1gui's website, we're into Week 8 now, so let's go look at the weekly matchups and see what happened in Week 8. We had the Arizona Cardinals being upset by the Green Bay Packers at home by a score of 24-21. A little surprising. Arizona looked invincible, but not so much. The second game, we have the Atlanta Falcons losing to the Carolina Panthers at home. That's not really much of a surprise. Atlanta pretty much is out of it in that division. The Buffalo Bills beat up on the Miami Dolphins, who has it, 26-11. And the Chicago Bears took a L to the San Francisco 49ers at a score of 33-22. Surprisingly again, the New York Jets beat the Cincinnati Bengals 34-31. Unbelievable. This bit of a surprise, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat up on Cleveland, and Cleveland was at home 15-10. Another interesting game, we had the Monday night football contest, the late night football game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. The Minnesota Vikings were at home. Dallas decided not to play Dak Prescott, so they looked a little vulnerable, but they managed to pull it out and actually win in a thrilling game, 20-16 over the Minnesota Vikings. It's pretty sure bet that Dak Prescott will play from here on out. Denver, Washington. Denver Broncos at home against the Washington football team. Denver won that 17-10. Another surprising game. Detroit Lions at home were throttled by the Philadelphia Eagles 40-46. The Houston Texans at home, of course, lost to the Los Angeles Rams 38-22. The Indianapolis Colts, which was an overtime game, managed to lose at home to the Tennessee Titans 34-31. The Seattle Seahawks beat up on the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-7. The Kansas City Chiefs on the Monday Night Football game barely won against the lowly New York Giants 20-17. The Los Angeles Chargers lost to the New England Patriots 27-24. And yet another surprising game. The New Orleans Saints at home managed to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 36-27. So both Tampa Bay and Arizona showing some kinks in the armor. And it remains to be seen how the rest of this will turn out. So if we look at our power rankings, like last week, the top 5 teams are all from the NFC, and that is the Cardinals, followed by the Packers, followed by Cowboys, Rams, and then Buccaneers. There's no AFC team in sight on the power rankings until the 7th place Bills in the overall. So as I said last week, and it continues to look that way, the AFC does not look like they got a good shot at winning this year's Super Bowl. Things could change dramatically. We still got a lot of football left, but it's looking like whoever survives out of the top 5 NFC teams is probably going to win the Super Bowl. Having said that, let's take a look at and finally, the Detroit Lions, in case anybody was wondering, is still the only winless team left in the NFL at 0-8. So if we look at our division standings, the Bills are only one game up in the AFC East at 5-2. As I said, it's getting pretty tight. The AFC North has the Ravens and Bengals 5-2 and 5-3 respectively. So that's pretty tight. The AFC South has the Tennessee Titans at 6-2, pretty firmly in control. And then finally the AFC West has the Raiders one game up on the Chargers the Raiders at 5-2, the Chargers at 4-3. We look over to the NFC. Cowboys are firmly in control of the NFC East at 6-1. The Packers are firmly in control of the NFC North at 7-1. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are only one game up now over the Saints at 6-2, followed by the Saints at 5-2 in the NFC South. And finally, in the NFC West, we've got the Cardinals and the Rams tied, really, at 7-1. So the NFC West start to heat up, and the Cardinals are not a shoo-in for necessarily that division or even the top seed. We've got a lot of football left, so we'll see what happens in the future. And like I said, next week, everything goes right, we will be doing the Super Bowl playoff bracket projections for the wild card round. Thanks again for tuning in, and like always, please subscribe, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Ooh, push that button.